This is Our View, brought to you by the 40,000 proud members of the Washington Federation of State Employees. The Federation recently met in Spokane for their convention. It was a time to review progress, plan for the future, and build solidarity. Here are some highlights.
When a neighbor suspects that a child has been abused, they don't call the Boeing company, they call you. They call you to come forward and do what you can to protect that child and make sure they're safe. When snow and ice threaten the very safety of our people who are trying to get home to their families, they don't look to Microsoft. They look to you to make sure those roads are clear and they are safe. When a smokestack is making people sick, they might call their doctor, yes, but you can bet they're going to be calling you. When a boss is cheating a worker out of her pay or ignoring her personal safety at work, sure, she might call her mom, but you can bet she's going to call you. When a big company in a small town closes down, the community calls us for help, but really, quite frankly, more often, we're there before we're ever called to offer that help. When a killer storm, a wildfire, a flood, or an earthquake plays havoc on a community, all eyes turn to those men and women across state agencies who will be there at the drop of a hat, even to put their lives at risk to make those people safe and answer the call to duty. Now, I've heard the same noises y'all have heard. There are those who, from certain quarters inside government, there are those from certain quarters outside government that say that collective bargaining ought to be repealed. It doesn't work. My answer to that is hogwash. I'd like to talk, if I could, for a moment about health insurance. You know, I get more guff about health insurance that we provide to the employees of the state of Washington than I get about most anything else that we do. I just must share with you my attitude about health insurance. And that is simply to say, I just want to be the role model. I want every employer across the state of Washington to stand up and understand their responsibility to the employees and the families by giving them good, quality, affordable health care. That is the role of an employer, and I'm very proud of what we're doing and the role model we're serving to other employers in the state of Washington. Hint dropped on me when I came into office in 2005. The hint had to do with middle managers, and we have eliminated 1,100 and we put the money on the front line where it ought to be spent. You and I both know you cannot learn in school if you're not healthy. So we're dedicated to reforming healthcare in the state of Washington, not by something flashy, but by doing something real, by making sure we're getting quality, that it's affordable and yes, accessible. And we're going to start with a goal of every one of our children having access to health care coverage in the state of Washington. And we're going to 300% of poverty. And yes, I'm in a war with the President of the United States.
And as a Job Action of the Year award also goes to Pat Terrell and the other local 931 local stewards from 931 for their successful campaign against spying by the management on the members at home. Their job action included the declaration that unless management stopped coming to members' homes to check whether they were really sick, the union the union would fill several carloads full of employees and knock on the doors of any managers who called in sick.
We agree that unions ought to be able to organize, workers ought to be able to bargain, and as a result of that, we'd have better wages, better workers. We built the highest standard of living for workers anywhere across the world in these United States. In these United States. We had a middle class that was beyond belief, the highest standards, but then something went wrong. Something went terribly wrong. Maybe we didn't educate the corporate leadership, or maybe they didn't want to be educated. But in the event, they have decided that they are the select few. And off the top of everything comes their immense wages, comes their immense benefits, their immense perks. And the rest of us are left to scramble around trying to eke out a living in a changing world. An idea as simple as a decent day's pay for a decent day's work is actually up for debate. You may not hear it here in the state of Washington, but across this country there is a real question as to whether workers ought to have the ability to bargain collectively and receive better pay. We're witnessing what I call an important cornerstone in our democracy being chipped away. Workers, all they have to offer are their services, their labor. And I believe, without any debate, that they ought to have a right to come together collectively to deal with any employer in trying to improve and protect those wages and their benefits. But there is a real connection. There's a real connection between a person's economic stability and their engagement with their community. People who are struggling to pay their bills, trying desperately to hold on to their homes, don't have the energy to attend union meetings or be active in the PTA. They just don't have the time. We ask them to come to a union meeting, they're trying to decide between their church, their social club, their whatever. They are busy. You know, we say, well, if people agreed with us, they would be out rallying. They don't have the energy to protest the war or rally for decent treatment. They don't hand out leaflets. They are trying desperately to make it. Some are working 2, 3, and 4 jobs, trying to keep their family and their head above water. Husband and wife very seldom see each other at the same time, never see the children at the same time. What do we expect? A society that is breaking down, not because we want it to break down, it's breaking down because somebody somewhere in a think tank figured we don't need these things in our society, took them away, and now we're seeing the end result. Our union, this union, is the only strong voice to argue for quality public services that meets the need of a changing society. The governor is absolutely right. I mean, we are the frontline troops in trying to build a society that will have decency and a quality of life that all can appreciate. When we started out on this incredible mission, mine started in 1953, to build a union that would reflect those who have been left out of the process. We had no idea where we were going, but we had a notion that if we could start this action in the public sector and talk about quality public services, bring the opportunity for workers in the public service to earn a decent living, we could build something that would be a force in determining the direction of this society. And I think we have done that. We've got 1,400,000 members, all of them, and they don't all come to the meeting, I don't want to mislead you. But each and every one of them understand that there is something special about this group. I mean, we really make sure the water is clean. We really make sure that your highways, as the governor said, is in shape. We take care of everything that deals with the quality of life. But Does the public appreciate it? No. And I'm not convinced they're going to ever appreciate it, but the fact is we're still obligated to do it. But we ought to also take it upon ourselves to tell them what we do. Public services are an extension of democracy. And if you don't have services, you will not have a democracy. And if you don't have a democracy, you cannot have public services.
A look at our union history. Here's Ross Reeder.
According to some historians, October 23rd, 1170 BC is the date of the first recorded strike. Of course, it wasn't called October then in Egypt, but I trust their calculations. About 3,200 years ago, a construction superintendent picked up a piece of papyrus and wrote a lengthy memo to his superiors. His purpose was to explain why the construction of Ramses III's great temple at Thebes was so behind schedule. In 1951, William Edgerton, an Egyptologist at the University of Chicago, published an article in an archaeology journal containing his translation of that paper. It explained that the workers had gone on strike 5 times for as much as 11 days at a time. They knew that all pharaohs believed that they could become gods after death only by having great monuments erected for ceremonial use after their death. Ramses was unpopular after 29 years as king and had become seriously ill. Ramses' sickness and superstition had given the workers an advantage. Given the tight on-the-job structure of this real union, without a written contract, these pioneer building trades were able to put up the kind of resistance that leaves opponents with less room to maneuver. In order to gain even greater advantage during the strikes, they sent some of their members back onto the jobs where they disassembled already completed portions of the construction and made off with key parts. They removed things that would make it even harder to find strikebreakers to come do their work. This article is based on mention of the event by Stan Weir, a maritime and longshore worker, in his collection of articles and essays, Single Jack Solidarity, published by University of Minnesota Press in 2004.
This has been our view, the voice of Washington's working families. We remind you, when you accept your paycheck for your hard work, you don't give up your rights. Thank you for watching.
Being here has been a good opportunity for me to meet people in the community and also realize that our voice is being heard.
Like to have a voice in who's going to provide leadership for our union for the next 2 years, and coming to the convention gives me an opportunity to voice my opinions.
I'm the local 1253 secretary, and I'm trying to get a good impression of what the union is to everybody. And with me being here, I get a better idea of what goes around the entire state instead of just in my specific local.
The importance of the convention is, for me, networking, finding other people to become involved with the union, more knowledge, finding out how to become more active, especially with the Next Wave group.
I'm just now getting started and being active in our local union, and I started to realize after going to the meetings how much work is involved in protecting our interests and how easy it would be for, the higher you go up the rank, for us to be defeated or for people to be singled out and not be protected for doing the best work that they can with the resources that they have. So I'm here at this convention to learn more about what it takes to, get the benefits that we have in our contract, where the $756 healthcare settlement came from.
The more people we get involved in the union, the more we can accomplish. So don't just pay your dues. Please get involved in the union. Every individual helps.